Logan here at Hoover High School with Hoover coach Josh Niblett. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and High School Sports Weekly. I talked to you earlier, it's too early to talk about your team. So I kind of wanted to talk about you a little bit and kind of get to know you some more. Now, you used to have 7 cups of coffee every morning.
Yeah.
Is that still your?
Maybe a little spark and then about 3 cups of coffee. So, yeah, I've toned it down a little bit. So.
Because you're always full of energy, and you have been since you got at Hoover. And I kind of wanted to start talking about the moment that got you here to be a head coach at in the high school level. You're coaching in college. You find out the coach you're coaching for is resigning, and you got to find a new job.
Yep.
At any point in that time, did you think, maybe I shouldn't coach?
Yeah, there was a point in time where I didn't know really what God was telling me. I'm a faith-based man, so I'm not perfect by no means, but I've tried to figure out what God's plan was for my life, and whether it be through coaching when I was a player, when I played at Alabama, to when I was strength coaching at Jacksonville State, and then when the opportunity came to where that happened the 4th game of my last year there, it's kind of a soul-searching time for me because, number one, we finished out the year. Number two, as you know, at the end of the year, you're not going to have a job. And so your wife is, you've been married to your wife for 1.5 years, and you've got a 6-month-old baby. And so you're kind of at a point in your life to where you want to make sure you're making the right choices because it's not about you anymore. It's about your family. And for me, I didn't know if I was going to be selling sporting goods or digging ditches, doing whatever I needed to do to support my family. And I was at a crossroads to where my brother was a coach, my dad was a coach. And so I knew I always wanted to coach and had an opportunity to interview at 3 different schools. And, Aniana was where I landed for the first 5 years of my head coaching career. And here we are in year 23, counting my Jacksonville State years, but 20 years of being a head coach, and that's all I've known how to do.
You mentioned your dad was a coach, your brother's a coach. I'm a coach's daughter. My dad coached me in softball.
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest years I had was him coaching me.
Yeah, I could vouch for that.
So what did you learn from your dad as a coach that you've brought into your coaching style?
Just about having a standard and not expecting anything less than the expectation that you have, and try to help your players have the same expectation for themselves, not only on the field but off the field, and then be held accountable for it. And in our home, I still fear my dad, and so it's always, my dad said, this is the way we're going to do it, and this is the way it's going to be done. And if you don't do it that way, there's consequences, and you're going to be held accountable. And so as a coach, he was the same way. That's the reason he was always successful. And because his kids could trust in him that he was going to fight for them. He was going to coach them hard. Right. But I think it's about loving your kids. And loving your kids is not just about showing up every day and everything's got to be lovey-dovey. It's, showing up every day and they know they can trust you and they know you're in it for them and you got their back. And so that's one of the parts that I think God's placed on my heart ever since I've been a coach, is it's a ministry for me trying to make an impact in kids' lives.
I'm going to throw me off what I was going to ask you next, since you mentioned the impact God's had on your life and the purpose. When you started here, one thing that you did is you started opening your home to have the players come for devotions.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
Well, I just think it was, when I was at Jacksonville State, I would have a Bible study. I started a Bible study, a ministry group called Men of Will, and we did it on Sunday nights, but I went to the kids, so we did it on campus. And then when I became a high school coach, I remember Buddy Anderson had done something like that at Vestavia, and I thought to myself, you know what, I want to open my home to my players. And so it got to a point where a kid brought like some snacks, and we're like, hey, if you're not going to bring enough for everybody else. And so before you know it, we've got 3-course meals, and we're eating, and we're having devotion time, we're having prayer time, we're just having fellowship, and then we just kind of sit around and talk, and they play outside or do whatever and hang out, and and it's just been fun for me. We've seen probably close to anywhere between 150 to 200 decisions made in our den, in our living room, coming to know Christ, and it's been a blessing. It's strictly voluntary. COVID got us last year, but we're excited about getting back to having our Bible studies on Wednesday night.
You've had the players in your home, and so your sons grew up around the team. You coached the oldest one. Now you have your other son here as a sophomore. What's it like having him on your team to coach?
Well, it's just special, and it's something that I think we take it for granted sometimes, but I don't want to take it for granted because, when I coached my oldest son, you know, it was one of those opportunities even when he was young. You know, he was 2 years old. He was learning how to swing a bat, throw a ball, catch a football, punt, kick, shoot basketball, whatever it may be.
You're going to do it all.
And then, you know, when he came, he had to find ways to entertain himself at practice or in the gym. And that's the way me and my brother were, you know, with my dad when he was coaching. And so I just know how much it meant to my dad to coach us and how proud he was of that. And my two boys that I've been able to coach, and my daughter, I mean, she works out with me in the mornings here in the weight room. And so, you know, she plays college softball, and I don't get to coach her, and I didn't get to coach her growing up. Right. But that was probably a good change up for her.
Yeah, it probably was.
Scott'll probably say that, I mean, he loves it. He probably wouldn't have it any other way. I was the same way. I felt like I was being probably coached harder and taught to different than anybody else on
probably
the field.
100%.
But yes. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if my dad hadn't have pushed me. And so I try to make sure that I push my kids and make sure they're being held accountable, doing the right things. But, you know, they're always going to get a little extra just because they're going to get it at home.
Right.
But I try to separate it when we get home. You know, I try to be a dad when we get home, and then talk about the things that are important, not only about football, but life.
You mentioned that these are important. I've known you since I moved here to Alabama and had a chance to talk to you several times. And one thing you had said that's always kind of stuck with me is to be great at the no talent things.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
Well, I just think every day you wake up, you got a choice to make. You can either make your bed or don't make your bed. It doesn't take talent to make your bed. And you know, that's one of the first things I do when I get up in the mornings. I make my bed because I want to lead the day off with something successful, because success breeds success. And so, you know, it's the no talent things that make you good. Like some guy might be faster than you, some guy might be stronger than you, but it takes no talent to show up early. It takes no talent to have your feet behind the line. It takes no talent to use great technique. It takes no talent to treat people with respect.
Right.
So the no talent things in life are really what allow you an opportunity to be a lead or not be a lead.
Makes you a person.
Yeah, it's not, because talent will beat, you know, that the thing about it is like what we talk about, like that toughness that we want to create, that's the no talent things. Because you got to have toughness, you got to have discipline, and those things will beat talent any day.
Well,
and
nowadays you're seeing players that are equal on the weight room and the field, and that's what makes them stand out.
You know, back in the day, you could come in here and do something innovative, and I remember when Nebraska did it in college. We were talking about this yesterday as a staff, and then all of a sudden everybody caught up with that, and then all of a sudden you had another group that did something different, and everybody caught up to that, and so it always boils down to, just like in football, it always boils down to who can block and tackle. I mean, you can come up with all these plays you want to, but at the end of the day, if you can't block and tackle, you're not going to be very successful.
Right.
Well, at the end of the day in your life, I don't care how much money you make, I don't care what kind of job you can, what kind of circumstance you come from, the no talent things will define you for the rest of your life and where you end up.
So I want to go a little lighter and talk a little bit about fashion. Okay?
Yeah.
I see you on the sidelines. You have had the shoes, orange pants.
Yep.
Who handles your fashion style? Is that all you, or is
Me.
your wife?
I handle it, and I'm just a guy, like, look, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm a little different than everybody else. You know, I used to wear the polo and the khakis because I thought that's what you were supposed to wear as a coach, and then certain guys in the NFL kind of got a little innovative with some stuff, and so now to me it's joggers and dry fit shirt with, you know, white or colored tennis shoes, maybe a flat bill hat or a trucker hat or no hat with a mohawk, you know, whatever it may be. Look, you only live once, and I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 next January, but I still feel like I'm 24 years old, and I understand.
I mean, it's fashion taste. I like it, but
I'm a Vans. I like wearing Vans shoes, and you know, there's just certain stuff that I like to wear. I wear skinny jeans, and you know, I mean, but I'm at a point right now where I'm okay with that. Like I don't have an issue with that.
You should be.
And so I like to relate to my players too, because our players are all about swag. They're all about the drip.
Don't crease the shoes.
Yeah, and so they want to make sure, you know. And so for me, you know, it's just something I've always liked. I love fashion. I love style. I love to see people that are dressed nice. I love to kind of like see how people develop as far as that goes. I mean, like the thing is like I'll watch NFL games, and people don't know this, but this is how far I go. Like I look at how they do the NFL logo on the shirts. Well, they don't come out until after the preseason. They wear last year's gear.
Yeah.
So I had to wait till their first game to see how they print their shirts up for us to kind of figure it out, because then we'll try to find something like that to print on ours. So just, you know, little stuff like that, and just try to do stuff that's a little bit different. And I do. I like style. And I do text my daughter. I do text my daughter the night before the game a picture, because I get in full gear the night before the game, because I want to make sure. There's some nights I might put 4 or 5 different things on and have to figure it out. So I text her, and then she tells me yes or no. So she has a little bit to do with it too.
That's good. Now, one thing I've always wondered, and I've never had a chance to ask you, you change before the game starts.
Yes, I do not wear the same shirt for sure. Yeah, and so what it used to be is I used to always like to put something on a little bit different. And I remember we went to, and our coaches will do the same thing.
Yeah.
So now they kind of adapted to it, and like, I'm going to wear something different. You know, we might wear the same jogger pants or whatever.
But something changes.
Yeah,
on you.
I'm going to change something, yeah. And I don't normally wear a hat during warm-ups, and if I'm going to wear a hat that night, I don't put it on until we come out to go onto the field. Normally, you know, I'll change into a different dry-fit shirt because I'll wear a short-sleeve shirt during warm-ups. So, yeah, I mean, just try to keep it mixed up and keep people on their toes.
You do, because I'll be in the press box and I'll find
you. That's awesome that you do recognize that. That really takes my heart, because now I'm definitely keep doing it now.
I do. I'll find you during warm-ups. I'm like, okay, where's Niblett? And I'll talk about it, and then the game will start, and I'm like, how did I just lose the coach? And then I'll find you. I'm like, he changed.
Yep.
That's how.
Well, and there's a strategic way. So I'm glad we're talking about this, because there's probably a lot of people that don't understand all the ins and outs of this and kind of what I go through during the week. Now, I do work on football stuff too. I don't just work on what I'm going to wear on Friday.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's also, what are the kids wearing?
Yeah.
You know, and then can the kids pick me up? Because I still kind of signal on offense some. And so, you know, if the kids are in black, I mean, am I wearing a white shirt, orange shirt, or a gray shirt? You know, I try not to wear the same shirt they can unless they can pick me up. But if I wear the same shirt they're wearing, then I need to wear a different color hat.
I've never
something
thought
they can
about
pick
that.
me up.
Makes sense.
So, or different color shoes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works.
I never thought about that. That does make sense. All right, so I had to ask that question because I've wondered that for a long time.
Well, I'm sure not everybody, as far as in our region or in the state, worries a whole lot about that, but I do. So.
Well, and I do have to ask a football question. We can't talk about the team, it's just too early. But one thing I noticed about you guys is you will travel and face competition that we don't see a lot of our Alabama teams face. You've played IMG, you've played one team at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you've went to Texas. Why do you guys find those teams to play?
Because we're not scared to, take on somebody and figure out who we are, whether we win or lose. I think that's what you figure out. I think you only get better by playing the best competition you can play in the best venues, and we want to give our kids exposure. We want to give them an opportunity to travel. We want to give them an opportunity to play teams that they may normally never get to play. We want them to play in venues to where, they'd never get that chance. And then, if they don't get to go play college, they've got to experience what that's about.
Yeah.
And, next year we start off in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which will be an awesome environment and an awesome opportunity for us, playing an awesome team in North Gwinnett, who has a lot of tradition just like we do. And so, for us to be able to do that, and our region's pretty tough.
It is.
It's probably one of the toughest regions, if not the toughest regions in Alabama or the Southeast. And, so you're already playing tough competition. But for us, we play Prattville, which, us and them have went at it for years.
That used to be like a little rival for you guys,
and then we're playing Alpharetta, Georgia. So we just love to play different talent, different people that we wouldn't normally see. And that's what allows us to get better. It keeps us sharp.
I'm going to ask you one last question and let you go because I know your son's calling you and you got something else to get to. What's one thing you think you learned from COVID coaching that you'll take with you?
I think there was a lot of things before COVID that we took for granted. Just the opportunity to all be in a room together, the opportunity to be in a weight room together to work out, just how much team really means, that, where you can be together and converse together and talk to your whole group about the same message. And I just think there's some things that, we probably took for granted that, we had the freedom to be able to do, that now we understand that, as some of it has relaxed. But also at the same time, understanding the importance of making sure, we're taking care of our players and they're taking care of themselves. Because I think anytime you go through a pandemic, I think you find something out about you. Mm-hmm. And if you do have an opportunity to get it or whatever, then you're not invincible. And you got to take care of yourself.
Right.
And then it's about other people around you too that can be affected. And I think we've all seen that, whether it's been quarantine or whatever. I think this has affected, a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I think it's made a lot of people think and figure out where they are, and then how much people around them mean to them, and then just the opportunity to be together, because that's what we're about here, is about relationships. And it's hard to have a relationship when you can't be around each other, especially in football.
Oh, 100%. Coach, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here. It's a blessing to have you, and I think the world of you and what you guys are doing, and what you do for high school sports, and the exposure that we're able to do here with at Hoover High School. We have a standard, and that's a standard we play by, we live by, and we try to make sure that's who we are.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, Coach.
When it comes to an injury, you shouldn't have to be a professional athlete to get professional care. In fact, you shouldn't have to be an athlete at all. At OS1, we understand that orthopedic injuries occur to all types of people at all times of the day. Our convenient location allows you to get immediate attention without having to go to an emergency room. We have on-site digital X-ray and MRI, and our sports medicine specialists are fellowship trained and are here to get you back to it, whatever it might be. The best part is that OS1 is generally less expensive than the ER, and our decreased wait times make sure you are able to spend less time waiting and more time getting better. For more information or to book an appointment, please visit our website at bettersooner.com or just come to our Hoover location. OS1 Sports Injury Clinic. Get better sooner.